Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to Hybrid Now. Gonna do a little testing in the new Prius back here as far as how does it do in colder weather, and I'm more referring to how quickly does it heat up. And I think, I don't even remember because I never use it, it has a heated steering wheel and heated seats. I think. We're gonna find out. I don't even remember. Isn't that bad? Got to run an errand, have to head off to the post office. So it's 49 degrees, which for me, living in South Texas, is pretty darn cold. Let's jump in, go for that ride, and see how it feels inside the Prius. Okay, how embarrassing. I do have heated seats and a heated steering wheel. So we're going to fire both up, and we're going to see how they feel. Right here on the center column area is the heated seats, or are the heated seats. We're going to go ahead, push that button, crank it full up. We'll see how long it takes to heat up. And then over here, we have the heated steering wheel. So let's go ahead and fire that up. I've never used either one of these, so I'm going to be very curious to see just exactly how they feel. Man, I have to say, this car is just so freaking cool. I stopped at the post office, you could see in the beginning segment there, I guess. And I'm walking out and I'm looking at the car, and I have it debadged, so it's pretty smooth across the back, right? It just looks like something from the future. I think the only thing that lets this car down, if there's one thing, it's probably the skinny tires. It could use a little bit wider tire. Man, I think if it had just a little bit more back there, it would look even better. But nonetheless, the car looks freaking awesome. I love it. But the point of the video, how is it in the cold? How is or are the heat warmers and the steering wheel heater? Like I said in the beginning, I've not used it before, don't usually have a reason to use it here. I mean, typically it's in the 90s here, but today, 49 degrees as I'm cruising around. And by the way, the car did feel just a little bit stiffer in the cold, but that's to be expected, right? I mean, it's colder outside. Not a problem. Now, let's get to the heated steering wheel first. I will say it works quite well. It heated up pretty darn quickly, maybe about a minute, maybe less, and I could definitely feel the heat in this steering wheel. It is hotter as you go down towards the center. I think that's where the heat radiates from, or at least starts, and that would make sense. And then up around the top of the wheel. Definitely not hot enough that you can't hold your hand on it, which you wouldn't expect it to be, but hot enough that it warms your hands up quite well. And I think if you were wearing rather thin gloves, you could feel it through your gloves as well, if you're in a climate where you wear gloves. So definitely works well. As far as the seat warmer goes, I had it on the highest setting. It was setting 3. There are 3 options that you can put it at. And by the way, the heated steering wheel, you have one option, on or off. So I had the seats as high as they would go. And again, it was about, I would say, a minute, maybe minute and a half before your rear end really starts to feel toasty sitting in these seats. It's not overbearing, it's not going to drive you nuts, and it's going to feel really good, especially if you're in a colder climate than I am. I know 49 degrees to a lot of you folks out there is like summer, right? I mean, I know it's colder in northern parts of the country right now, and of course all throughout the winter, particularly up in Canada. If you happen to live up there, I know it gets a lot colder. You're going to be quite pleased. I'm very happy with it. I turned it off after about 5 minutes or so because I just didn't need it anymore. As far as heating up the interior of the car, now this is a little bit different, I think. I have it set at auto 77 degrees. Typically 77 degrees when it's 49 outside would start to feel pretty warm pretty quick. I didn't really notice that. It did warm up inside the Prius, but it didn't get to that point where I had to adjust the heat down. So I would say from a comfort standpoint, it's not quite as strong as other heaters that I've had given the same temperature. And I keep all my vehicles the same. So a little bit less than that. Not exactly sure why. I think of the Jeep Gladiator, and I guess you might expect the Jeep Gladiator with its more open feel and a little bit more breezy inside, if you will, with that hard top and whatnot, to have a little bit stronger heater. And I'd say that was true. The Gladiator did have a stronger heater, and so does the Tacoma and the Tundra. Not that there's anything wrong with the Prius, but it's not going to sweat you out, at least at 77 degrees when it's 49 degrees outside. Very happy with it. Definitely kept me nice and warm when it's so freezing cold outside, right? You know, it's funny. Until the last 5 years, I always lived in an area that had seasons. Winter climate, summer, spring, fall, all that. And you get spoiled. You know, it was cold up there in the winter. We'd get minus wind chill temperatures, minus just normal temperatures. And then you move somewhere like I did 5 years ago south where, you know, I don't know what the average temperature is here, but it's got to be in the 70s. I mean, it's 90 to over 100 a lot of the summertime. Probably 3-4 months or so out of the year you're in those kind of temperatures, right? It's amazing to me how much you acclimate and then how much colder it feels when it's below those temperatures. I mean, for me nowadays, 75 to 80 degrees is comfortable, if not a little bit chilly. You know, it takes about 90 degrees to feel really, really warm. Didn't used to be like that. My wife calls me a wimp. Of course, she's Canadian, so she grew up in those frigid temperatures. She's actually from Winnipeg. And if you're familiar with Canada, maybe you're from Canada, it gets really cold there and they get a lot of snow. And snow? What is snow? We don't get snow here, so I'm very happy about that. I used to have to get up at 5-6 o'clock in the morning to shovel or scrape, I guess, not really shovel, my 1/4 mile long driveway so that I could go to work. That was a drag. I don't have to do that anymore, and I'm very thankful for that. Anyway, I just kind of wanted to get on and give you guys an idea of what the heating situation is inside the Toyota Prius. I think you'll be very happy with it. If you have one coming, maybe you're waiting and you live in a winter climate. Leave a comment. If you got the new Prius, what do you think? Is it adequate? Everything up to your specifications? Does it keep you warm? I'd just be curious to know. Thanks for watching. Stay safe out there. Bye.